Well, welcome. We are back for Church with Nerds. What are we calling ourselves?
Church for Nerds.
Church for Nerds, yes, where we look at ancient practices with modern eyes. Mm-hmm. But today we have a special treat. We are going to look at modern practices with ancient eyes. We're talking Taylor Swift today. We're filming on, it's Tuesday after the Bills-Chiefs game, and the Chiefs lost, so it's okay to talk about Taylor Swift. But anyway, so we're going to get started. Why don't you introduce yourself for everybody?
I'm Jordan. I'm here at First Trinity. I'm in the office. And do you want like context of like where I would stand in relation to Taylor Swift?
Oh, sure. I don't know. Yeah. What's your familiarity with Taylor Swift?
Fun fact, Taylor Swift was actually my very first concert. She went to the Erie County Fair, and we saw the Swimming Pigs, and then we went over to see Taylor Swift's debut album. It didn't actually have a name at that point, because we didn't know it was a debut. We just knew it was a Taylor Swift album.
She had never released an album before.
That was the first one.
Wow.
She was prepping Fearless, and then I was in au pair for her concert in Boston. But I did not go to the concert in Boston. But I got a crash course on Taylor Swift background on the drive over.
Okay.
Yes.
So would you consider yourself a Swiftie?
I can't say I do.
Okay. I am not a Swiftie. My experience with Taylor Swift is my daughter got into Taylor Swift this year, and she thought it would be fun for me to do this. We're actually recording for a project for my Psalms for Pastoral Care class. So, yeah. Anyway, so I don't consider myself a Swiftie. In fact, I had not listened to any Taylor Swift songs to my knowledge, or at least not intentionally. Prior to examining a bunch, I listened for a while to figure out which song we wanted to look at. So,
right. You didn't introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Pastor Jason. That's right. Yes, the other host of Church for Nerds. So, well, we're going to dive in because we have a time limit. Last time we did our pilot episode, we were long. So we have a time limit today, and we're going to get it done in under 20 minutes total, which is going to be quite the feat for us. So we're going to start off. We're going to look at Taylor Swift's Delicate, and we don't think we need to read the lyrics, right? We'll just kind of talk about it as we go. So,
I think so.
A big shout out to Lauren from our research department.
Yes.
I didn't even know we had a research department until Lauren showed up with 3-page copy annotated lyrics of Taylor Swift.
She's good for that. Yeah.
She is good for that. Yes, she would probably consider herself a Swiftie.
Oh, absolutely. She was actually she's very well qualified. Was in the top 0.5% of Taylor Swift listeners on Spotify for the 2022 Wrapped season. So.
All right.
We're in good hands.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks to Lauren for helping us out here. All right, so we're going to talk about Delicate. So you had a chance to look ahead and read the lyrics and, of course, Lauren's notes. What do you notice about Delicate, Swift's song here?
Well, the theme of the song is primarily, the context. We should start probably with the context as Lauren provided for us. It came out December of 2017, right after the peak of the hashtag Taylor Swift is over party. Kanye and Kim had edited a phone call, made her look like a snake. It was really bad. And so her reputation is, as noted in the song, worse than ever. And enter a new love interest that she's trying to keep quiet because she kind of got burned by a previous love interest who was not okay with her fame. So that's what we're entering in with. But there's also a degree of comfort in the fact that this new love interest is coming in as she's at her lowest point, because it means that he or she is accepting of all that is coming into the situation.
Yeah, so, and, I had not being familiar with Taylor Swift, I just was looking at the lyrics. And before reading the notes from the research department, I kind of noticed in this song this theme of kind of wanting to be known, and that here's this person who's this new love interest that seems to be accepting of where she's at, both that her reputation is not so great right now, but also I feel like she's known for being pretty raw and real with her lyrics. And so, obviously she says in the opening lyrics, "This ain't for the best. My reputation's never been worse. So you must like me for me," which I imagine is probably hard for Taylor to find people who know her as her.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So what other themes did you find in the song?
So there is the theme of wanting to be known. There's also a big theme of looking to hide away from problems. We see that in the verse with handsome, you're a mansion with a view, which Lauren took to meaning tucked aside, especially when in combination with, where was it?
Like kind of secluded up in the mountains, right? This
Yes.
idea that it's off.
Oh, meet me in the back. That's where I was.
Yeah, it's kind of in the back. You know, handsome, you're a mansion with a view. Do the girls back home touch you like I do? This, you know, we're kind of isolated and on our own out here.
Correct.
But there's this other world out there somewhere.
Yes. It was in the first verse where it says, come here, you can meet me in the back. So there's, each of the verses has the, creates the environment of them being tucked away and hidden away. So there's an element of hiding both within their relationship, in the safety of the relationship, with physical illusions of hiding also.
Yeah. Now, what do you make of the refrain here? That it's, I mean, the title of the song is "Delicate," and she says this several times throughout. That it's, you know, that this is a delicate situation, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it delicate? What do you think she's getting at with that title and that phrase?
So, I feel like this speaks to, and maybe this is getting too far ahead. I would call it emotional imposter syndrome. Are you familiar with imposter syndrome?
I am not.
Okay, so imposter syndrome is the fear that you are unintentionally unqualified for X, Y, or Z. So for you, if you were to suffer from imposter syndrome, you'd be like, if people actually found out how unqualified I am to be a pastor, I'd be destroyed.
Amen.
Right. And you're like, I don't think I actually, like how did I accidentally get to the point of where I am here without anyone catching me? And you don't even mean to. And you try and be as honest with it as possible, but there's still this sense that, like, there's going to be another shoe dropping, and someone didn't realize that you are not qualified. And so that's imposter syndrome. And so I feel like what we're seeing here is a level of emotional imposter syndrome, that if her lover actually knew her and knew all of her dirty little secrets, then they would leave her.
Well, yeah, I didn't know the word for it, but I definitely see that too, that there's this fragility to the relationship. Like, yes, you accept me even when my reputation is low, but there's this, like, she's asking, you know, is it cool that I said all that? Seems to be this anxiety about what she's saying. Is it chill that you're in my head because I know that it's delicate, right? There's this underlying worry that while she thinks he knows her for who she really is, if he finds out who she really is, right? And that's going to cause a problem, a rift between the two, and the relationship might not survive that, which is interesting in our current age of social media and, you know, this carefully curated image that we put out there. And somebody like a Taylor Swift has multiple levels of that, I'm sure. There's what she puts out for fans, there's what she puts out for close family and friends, and then there's, you know, who she really is. But there seems to be this underlying worry that the relationship isn't going to actually survive the truth if that were to really come out about who she is. Yeah. So the idea here is we want to kind of, you know, we've been looking at if we record other episodes, we're going to look at old practices with modern eyes. But today we're kind of looking at the song of, you know, some of the songs of today, or today we're looking at Delicate. And we're kind of applying a psalm to it, and you know, how does Taylor talk about these things, and how do psalms talk about these? And so today we're going to look at Psalm 139, and I had to pick the psalm for the assignment. I picked the song and the psalm, and I just kind of gave it to you with no context. And so I'm curious, because you had no context coming in. I mean, I obviously had a point that what I was going to look at. And I'm curious where you're at on, like, what did you see as the connections then?
Sure. I think the similarity I saw was the presentation of the same need, that we have a need as people to be known and loved for who we are. And that we're seeking this. And that where we're seeing the differences is in Delicate, she's looking to a human being for that. And there's this fear because she cannot, he can never perfectly know her, as we talked about. There's this anxiety there's something she's forgetting or that he's missing, he doesn't understand, that is going to change their relationship. And B, that he can't handle all of what that means to know her and what she is. And there's this third thing that's not mentioned in the song, but they're looking to hide away as a result of it. Like, she doesn't think he's going to, like, there's a comfort in him knowing her and loving her, but it's not actually going to solve her problems. Whereas we see in Psalm 139, God knows us perfectly. We talk about that. We talk about how, because he made us, that there is a complete confidence that he's going to remain with us and love us perfectly because he's capable of it as God. And thirdly, that when it comes to, God's not only going to be with us as we face our problems, but he's actually going to carry us through it. He's bigger than our problems. He can defeat them.
Yeah. So let's talk about let's talk about how God knows us for who we are, right? And kind of getting at that, because that's that underlying fear, I think, that Taylor Swift presents, is if you knew me for who I really am, you wouldn't like me. And so right away in the beginning, David starts off, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. When I sit down, when I rise up, you discern my thoughts from afar," right? There's this idea that God is, he is omniscient. He knows everything there is to know, right? He knows all about me. And later in the Psalm, David gets to, he kind of repeats that phrase at the end, "Search me, O God, and know my heart." But he talks about even how God has made him, right? "You formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb." There's this idea that not only does God know what I'm thinking, but he knows me on this even basic fundamental level as he's stitching David together in the Psalm, or in the case of Taylor, right? There's this God who knows Taylor inside and out and was active in the creative process of, knitting Taylor together in her mother's womb. I don't know if she recognizes that or not. There's a lot of debate on whether or not Taylor has some sort of Christian influence. I guess she grew up Catholic or was baptized Catholic, but not a practicing. But I don't know. Garth Brooks was a Lutheran, supposedly. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Yes. Garth.
I don't know if it's true.
Happy to have him.
Happy to have him. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, there's this knowledge that transcends all of what any human can know about someone else, right? That Jamie and I can't have, you and Adam can't have that level of intimacy and understanding. But God has that level of knowledge that David kind of highlights, which I think is perhaps a bit of a fear in David also about being known. He seems to end up in a better place, but there's this, more of an acknowledgement that, yes, you do know everything, maybe not as much a fear of being known, but almost like oh no, you do know me. You do know me in my entirety. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, and so what was the second thing you were talking about? The second theme that you saw, or connection between the two? Was it the hiddenness or the isolation?
I think it was the isolation was the difference. Whereas with, I think that was the second thing brought up. Whereas Taylor's solution here is like, okay, you know me, and you seem to love me, but it's delicate. But it's delicate. Uh-huh. And so the response is, we're going to hide away and preserve this. Whereas in Psalm 139, it's, you know me, you love me, you're with me, and that empowers me to then go out and slay the wicked, and blood, depart. It's complete hatred for your enemy.
Yeah, 19 to 22, I think, is a hard part of that psalm. "Oh, that you would slay the wicked, O God. O men of blood, depart from me. They speak against you with malicious intent. Your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord? And do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with complete hatred. I count them my enemies."
But they can even, like in the psalm, and this is probably the better one to reference, is like you can even go make your bed in Sheol. And you're good. Like you don't need a highway and a mansion. You can go straight to hell and you're fine.
Well, and you know, and I think, you know, when David's talking there, it's just like, you know, David has this understanding that there's nowhere he can go to hide from God. And I think, you know, Taylor's got this fear that the relation, you're going to find out, and I'm going to need to hide because you're not going to want to be with me anymore, right? And there's this separation, and David says, you know, not only do you know everything about me, but you're, in a way, you're never going to give up on me. Like, you're going to be with me everywhere I go, whether I go down to the depths of Sheol or whether I'm on the highest mountain, right? God is still there, walking with him. And I think this probably, you know, Taylor's probably writing this at the end of that relationship. There's probably also just kind of a dark period where she's kind of walking through this darkness. And David touches on that a little bit too. He says, you know, if there were darkness, you know, it's not dark to you. The night is bright as day, for darkness is as light with you, in verse 12. Yeah. So, you know, one other thing I thought of that I think is interesting is, you know, Taylor ends up a little bit on this. I lost my second page here. Oh, it's up at the top of this one. She ends with this, you know, isn't it delicate, and that kind of almost like this uncertainty about the relationship. And I noticed that David ends up in a different place. It's like Taylor is, okay, I hope that you'll accept me for who I am, even if you knew all these things. But I'm afraid that if you really knew, you would cut off this relationship. And, you know, David, as I mentioned, he began this with, "Oh Lord, you searched me and known me." And then he kind of ends it, "Search me, oh God, and know my heart." He's like, you have searched and known me, but now search and know me, try me, and know my thoughts. And then I think this is where there's an interesting diversion, because Taylor leaves us a little bit in uncertainty about what's going to happen in that relationship. But David throws himself to God's mercy and says, if there be any grievous way in me, lead me in the way everlasting. There's this examining of David's heart, but he's asking God to bring him out of that maybe bad place. You know, if you think about Taylor walking in some uncertainty and darkness and how she's feeling, but also, like, if I'm walking this wrong path, God doesn't, not only does he not turn his back on us, but he turns us around, and by the power of his Holy Spirit, we were able to walk in that new path now.
Well, and I was noticing that too, and it was in comparison to in the chorus, was says, "We can't make any promises now, can we, babe? But you can buy me a drink." And there's, on the one level, in the delicate, there's a desire for a commitment and some security in a relationship. But also, she, like, it feels, maybe it's too early, or she just doesn't feel like she can ever do it. The commitment, like a two-way commitment here. And in one way, she wants it from him, she wants to give it to him. But she's not ready to make any promises. Whereas in the psalm, we see that not only does it matter that you know me, it matters that you love me, but because I know you know me, I am willing to change to be more of, like, I trust your judgment of me in a way. Whereas delicate, the relationship there it seems to be purely for comfort.
All right. If you can believe it, we're at 20 minutes. 19. We have to wrap up.
I think we did so good, though.
I know. It was really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know what more there is to say about this. We did Delicate by Taylor Swift, Psalm 139. If you have thoughts on similarities that you've seen, or Lauren from the research department, if you're watching, let us know how we did. But be gentle, because it's delicate. I'm afraid you won't like me because I didn't do a good job for your Swiftie fans. But all right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.